Hi, in this section I will be explaining about string class in depth. We have used string class very frequently, and in your day-to-day coding you will be using string at very high level. So this is the class which is very frequently used, so you need to understand the depth of this class. So this class is final, so no one can extend this class. This class is immutable. Immutable, we have seen that once you change the content of the object, it will create a new object, it will create a new reference. So this is immutable and this is comparable. So it means that any class which implements comparable, that class is comparable. So comparable is used when you are trying to compare one string to two string. So we will take a look on creation of a string. So creation of a string can be done in two ways. One is creating the object and one is creating the literal. Literal is something like that. If I say a string s is equal to abc, then it is a string literal. So what is the difference between string literal and string object? When you create a string object, the memory will be one reference will be created in the heap memory. So it will take the space in heap memory. Once you create, and if you create another object, it will create another space in the memory, it will create another reference in the memory. Okay, so but once you create the literal basically it goes to string pool. So string pool is the area in Java memory where if you create a string pool, if you create the literal, it will go to a string pool. If you create the same literal again, it will not create another space in string pool. It will not create any space in another space in a string pool. It will use the same space in the string pool. So that's the purpose of creating the string pool, to optimize the memory. So string literal use a string pool, and normal creation of the string object creates one space in heap memory. Okay, so literal, it is basically same reference. If you are using the same value, it will use the same reference. Suppose I say string s is equal to abc, then again I say string s1 is equal to abc. It will not take the same two space in will not create the two references in a string pool. It will have only one. Okay, and when you try to compare string pool values, usually use double equal instead of using equals. I will tell you in detail. And use literals in your program as much as possible, because it takes less memory. In terms of when you are trying to create second literal, which could be possibly the same value, then it will use the previous reference. It will not create the another reference. It is very useful in terms of memory utilization. Then we will talk about operations on string. There are a lot of operations. String APIs provides a lot of string class provides a lot of APIs that you can use. It will be really helpful to do the all possible operation that you need in your project. Okay, so you can do the string comparison. Your string comparison can be done by equals method, equal ignore case, compare to, and a lot. So equals to compare to see the same reference, and when we say equals method to compare to a string, it's basically trying to, if you have two references, it is will trying to use the values to compare it, and all comparison are in the case sensitive. Okay, so Then we will take a look on searching and modifying a string, how we can do search a particular character or particular string into a given string, and how we can modify the string. Then we will talk about string conversion from a string to another data type. We have seen in the last section in the wrap, string is also a wrapper. So is from a string we can create another data type. So a string to integer, a string to float. Okay, how we can change the case of a string, so lowercase to uppercase. Then we will talk about string versus string buffer and string builder. So string versus string buffer and builder is basically to handle the immutability of the string behavior, because whenever you change the string content of the string object, it will create a new reference. To avoid that, because it is a memory prone issue, so as long as you are creating more objects, you are modifying the string object content, it will keep on creating the new object, and that is overhead for Java memory. So to avoid those things, we should use a string buffer or a string builder. Okay, let's try to see those things in working. Let's go to Eclipse and let's play with a string here. So let's create one class. Test string capabilities. Okay, so before that, let me show you a string documentation. It is available in java.lang. So if you see, it is final class, it is comparable, it implements comparable, it implements serializable, it implements cat sequence. I will tell you about serializable later. So later we will see how serialization work. For now you can just understand a string is also serializable. So it is also comparable. So if this is the documentation. You should read this document. It will be really helpful to understand a string in a very good way. Okay, so if you see here, a string has a lot of constructor. You can create a string object using these constructors. You can use any one of them based on your need, based on the whatever parameters those are available. Okay, then it has methods like length, isEmpty, caret. A lot of methods are there. So there are few methods which are kind of static. So if you see here, it is a static inner class that is available over here, and we have other static methods like index of, last index of. Okay, and other static methods we have format, value of. So, and we have intern. Intern is kind of a native method which is used to convert your string to literal. Means it will help you to convert your string to store into string pool. Okay, whenever you create an object and say that object dot intern, it will use the string pool location for that, and it will create the same it will use that reference. If any other string with the same value comes, then it will use the same reference. That's the purpose of putting into a string pool. Okay, and it has like other methods like hash32, and that will give you the value of hash32. So so a lot of APIs are available in a string. You can go through that, and let's try to use few of them. Okay, let's first see. Let's create one main method. So what we have seen here, we will talk about creation of a string in a string literal, and how we will use the equal and equal operator and equals method, and then we will go for operation of a string, okay, like conversion and all those things. So let's see how first create a string. So when I say a string new a string, I can create the string from this constructor. Okay, so generally people use a string and give the original string as a parameter. They can use the string buffer and string builder also. The string buffer and string builder I will let you know later. You can give the char array, you can give the byte array, you can give a lot of parameter options are there that you can use. Okay, so I'm using normal. When I say string, I can use like this. It will not have any value. So if I print it as, it will have nothing. Okay, so but it is not null. When I say null, then only it is null. Okay, so if I give some value like this is my string program, okay, so it will just give the output. Let's try to see if I say a string. Let's talk about literal here. If I say literal 1 is equal to ABC, and they say literal 2 is equal to ABC. So it is basically creating one reference in the memory. It is not creating two references because values are same. Okay, so if I say, what if I compare with L1 equal to L2, because it is the same reference. When I say equal, okay, when I say L1 equal, that is operator. So if you use this operator, what it will do, it will try to do the comparison with the same reference. So it will say that L1 and L2 are the same reference. If they are not same reference, then the comparison will be false. So if it is same reference, then it will look for the value comparison. The first condition is L1 and L2 should be same reference, and same reference is possible when you are using the literals, because it will go to the string pool, and the behavior of a string pool is once you create a string literal with the value, if another string variable comes with the same value, it will use the earlier reference. It will not create the new reference. So L1 and L2 both are the same reference. So if I print this result, you should be seeing result as true. Okay, so this is very much important questions being asked in interview. What will happen if you give the comparison like this, equal operator, okay, equal operator. So it means that you are trying to compare the same reference. If it is two reference, then the comparison result will be always false. Okay, so So I create another string. Let's give char. Okay, let's create char array. I give S H I V. Okay, so this is the char array I have given. If I create the string from that char array, so let's see what it will print. So it should print the value of that string which is formed from the char array. So like that you can give byte array, you can give a lot of other options. So these are the parameters you can use. Okay, so you can try out on one these things. Okay, let's try to see the comparison by equals method. Okay, so when I do the comparison, one comparison we have seen here using two literals. So using equal operator, that is one way of doing the comparison. So in that I told it will use the same reference to compare. Okay, so if I say sys out L1 equals equal operator, then say yes. It means that L1 is one reference and S is another reference because it is using the new string constructor. So it will create another reference in memory. So it will not be same reference. So the result should come as a false. So to do this kind of comparison, you need to use dot equals. So equals is the method which is available in a string, which will do the comparison of two objects which are having the different reference. Okay, if I do the same reference L1 and L2, so it is the same. It will be, this comparison will be same like this, where you should be getting the value as true. Okay, right. So now what is S? What is S1? What is S here? S is, I think that is Shiv. So Shiv you are trying to compare with ABC. Okay, so if I say Shiv dot equals S, so this one is one literal and this one is another object and the reference. So again it will try to do the comparison. It will try to operate the equals method on a string, and because it is a two different reference, then it will try to compare the values. Okay, so the value of the result of this one should come true. Okay, so to understand the difference between literal comparison and object comparison, so if you are doing equals, then if either one of is a kind of a literal, then it is basically irrespective if you are using the equals. So it is basically trying to compare the two reference. Those two reference can be same, it can be different. So if you are using equals, it will go directly to see the values are same or not. Okay, so if you want to see detail about this equals method, so if you see here, it will do the comparison based on the character by character. Okay, so this is very important to know this kind of comparison. So these comparisons are always case sensitive. So if you give capital S, it should give the result as false. So remember that the comparison in a string is always case sensitive, unless there is one method used as ignore equal ignored case. In that case, it will be case insensitive. So sometime in your coding, you may need to compare the two string irrespective of their case. Okay.